Ever since we got Splatoon 3, my most wanted game on Switch has been a Tomodachi Life sequel. And now we finally have it. And I've had a few hours to look over it and speculate, and I have a lot of thoughts that I want to just get out here. And so we're going to do that in the form of a general analysis of this trailer, and then I'm going to talk about some things that I have been thinking about. So let's just get into it. Keeping with the island vibe. So we can tell that people, I don't remember if this was something that was present in the first game, but people are out sleeping outside their houses, which is something I don't remember being a thing. And we know from the ending of this trailer that they have dreams. So that is something to note, and we will see more of that in this trailer. So we know that the text-to-speech voice is still still returning. But something that I noticed and that I'm a little curious about is I can kind of tell that the me on the right, the girl, what I'm assuming is a girl, the one in the striped shirt, has a sort of facial shape that I don't think I've ever seen a me have before. And we can also see the different kinds of clothing, as well as the gradient on the hair, which is something I think is very cool. We can see the clothing shop in the background, and what I can only assume is like a house customization shop in the form of this T&C Reno, which I think is pretty cool. Considering that this is a Switch game, I wonder if we'll have more on-the-ground availability, like the ability to, have a me that walks around, or if we'll be able to just free camera everywhere. That'll be interesting to see. Over here we can see the lighthouse in the background, the cafe, which looks very similar to the old cafe, and then another city in the background, which I believe there were cities in the past in the old Tomodachi Life game, but never this detailed, obviously, because 3DS. We can see them still reacting to the environment, and we can see a few houses here on the side. I wonder how many rows that extends to. I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's definitely more than 4. We can also see buoys in the water, so I wonder if that means we'll see anybody doing things in the actual water. But the beach appears smaller than the past game, and I remember that they had the little beach mini games in Tomodachi Life 1, and I used to spend a lot of time on those. So I'm wondering if those are making a return and how we'll see them. We see dancing. Now, an event like this, I'm wondering if it's going to be the case like how in Tomodachi Life 1 they had the rap battles, where people would gather around and watch something happen, or if this is just like something you can walk in on people doing randomly on the island. But actually, hold on, I want to talk about the fact that we see new nose shape on the person in green, as well as we see the purple hair gradient again. We see, this is definitely a new old man hairstyle that I've never seen a me have. The red on this person on the right has, like, it looks like 3 different shades of red. The hairstyle that we see this guy in the back have, I believe that's new. I'm not entirely sure. As well as what I can only assume is new makeup options. And as we can see on this guy, he has like the little eyelash thingies. And also I just realized this, the person on the left with the purple streak, purple gradient, that's another nose shape I don't think I've ever seen a me have before. Another thing, this is something I saw in a comment section actually, is that if you look at the items that these people are throwing, they're back to the PNG images that we had in the old Tomodachi Life. So they're keeping up with the out of place like PNG images of items being thrown, which I think is so awesome. I think that's great that that's coming back. I thought it was so cool. We see someone working out over here, which I don't think they ever did anything like that in the past game. I know they would run across the beach, but I don't think we ever saw them like working out in this sense. I wonder if the dumbbells are a gift, like in the old game, if you wanted them to like run on a treadmill or play a sport, you had to give them the gift specifically. So I'm assuming that the dumbbells are a gift that you could give them. And we also see a person sleeping on this bench and someone walking around in the background, as well as a little building shop in the background, which I'm assuming is something for the island, as we saw a house customization shop earlier, and a better view of all the different houses that I'm assuming the Miis are going to stay in. Now, I'm wondering if these will be like the Mii houses in Tomodachi Life 1, where those are the ones for the married couples, or if you can say this person lives with this person. Like, I wonder how if we'll just simply have less people, or if we will have duplexes, or if we can like merge the houses. That'll be something that's interesting to look into. I can't make out what the store on the left is, but I think it's probably like the pawn shop that we had in Tomodachi Life 1. So that's interesting. And then I can't make out what the one on the right is, but I think that's flowers. Or food. Okay, we get a big, okay, now I'm able to see it. Okay, so we see the cafe over to the bottom left. We have more rows of houses, counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's 12 right there. We see the little cafe area we saw earlier. Or not cafe. In the top right, there's the little benches and the person sitting at the bench. Right next to that, we get another look at TNC, which is the same house customization shop that we had in Tomodachi Life 1. And then right next to that, we have an updated look at the clothing store. And then to the left of that, we have the food. And then I'm definitely assuming that quick build is for the town itself. And then right price is definitely the pawn shop. In the middle, we see the news station, as well as another little cafe area, and the fountain, which, if we remember in Tomodachi Life 1, was where people would donate and have the rap battles. So that's interesting to note. The beach looks very plain, so I'm wondering if this is either before the beach activities have been implemented, or if we will just straight up not have any anymore, which wouldn't make sense for a game that looks to be like heavy on the island theming. So that'll be something that I'm definitely curious about. And that's our title. I think that's a very good release year. Gives them time to cook it up. And this is what I was talking about with Dreams Outside. So, okay. We have a lot to talk about. No, not Amiibo! So with this trailer, there are a few things that I just want to go over because I've seen a lot of speculation and I've had time to think about it. And there are a few key things that I'm curious on. And it is things like the songs. We never saw anything relating to songs. I'm wondering how gifts are going to work. I'm wondering how, what kind of customization we're going to have. I'm curious on if the wigs are back, or if they, like from Miitopia. I'm curious if we're going to have any kind of, like, how similar it's going to be. Because the thing about the 3DS is that it was meant to be, taken everywhere. We had Street Pass. And this is, while the Switch is portable, it's also like a home console, and every game on the Switch has been more home console focused. So I'm curious on how they're gonna make it more home console feely, because I feel like that's what they're going for here. I don't think it's gonna be exactly like the first game in terms of gameplay. So I'm definitely curious on the approach they're gonna take. I wonder if there'll be a way for us to walk around as our lookalike, or if we can just like fly around as like an entity or whatever. Definitely curious about that. Another thing that I'm just really can't wrap my head around is character interactions and relationships. Because I know a lot of people, for the longest time, this is a big issue in Tomodachi Life 1, I know a lot of people have wanted for Nintendo to do gay relationships, and they wanted more inclusivity with what you could do relationship-wise with the Miis. And while I think that is something that they will do, because they said they were going to do that back in the original Tomodachi Life after it got a lot of backlash, I'm curious on how. Because I've heard a lot of speculation, I've heard a lot of people talk about what it could potentially be, but in my personal opinion, I don't think that there's a one-track way that they're going to satisfy everyone. Because there's a few options that I've thought of in my head of like what they could do. Thing number one is they're either going to make it the player's choice by saying what like a little toggle, and you'll pick which gender your character is attracted to. Two, they could have it where the game decides, which I'll get into that in a bit, or they will not have it be an option at all, which I highly doubt. Like, they won't include gay relationships again, which I really doubt, because that would get a lot of backlash. And I know that that's like the thing that I've been seeing in every comment section talking about this game. So they're definitely going to do it. But I want to talk about my worries for the two thing, or actually, option number 3, I'm worried that they're going to remove relationships altogether to avoid having to make that, like, have that conversation. So let's talk about all 3 options. You have option 1, which is that they have it on a toggle. If they do that, that means that this will be one of the few modern Nintendo games that has gender as an option, right? Because in games like Animal Crossing and Pokemon and Splatoon, you know, they say choose your, you know, your look or your body type or whatever. But they don't have, you know, are you a boy or a girl or whatever, right? So if they do that in this game, how will you tell the game which, like, who you should specifically be attracted to and not be attracted to? Because on both ends of the aisle, if the game can't differentiate, and as with Tomodachi Life, you as the player are not allowed to make that call. You're not allowed to influence what the Miis do. So I'm curious on if they're going to make characters have genders, which I think that would be the simplest solution, so that way you can just make a toggle and pick, oh, I only want to date females, I only want to date males, or both, right? Or neither, right? I think that is the most satisfying option for everybody. But if they choose to go the no gender route, which is what they've been doing in their other games, then I don't know how they would make it to where you get to pick who to exclude and who not to exclude. Because even in Tomodachi Life 1, you can set someone as your spouse, right? Like, you could say, oh, this person is my lookalike spouse. But your me, and that person may never speak. That happened to me in my Tomodachi Life playthrough, and I know it happened to a lot of other YouTubers. So I wonder if preference will also be something the game can just choose to ignore, which people would definitely have a problem with. And so I think the toggle, I think they should just bite the bullet, say genders are still a thing in this game, and then let you have a toggle on which one your Mii is attracted to. But there's also option number 2, which is the game decides, which I think is the option that's going to make the most amount of people mad. Because if the game decides whether or not your character's gay, it means that a straight person could end up with another man, or like the same sex, and then a gay person could end up with the opposite sex. And on both ends of the aisle, people are going to be upset. So I think that the solution that makes everybody happy is just making the toggle between the genders. Keep genders in the game and allow people to toggle between them. I think that's the easiest way to handle relationships. But I'm scared Nintendo is going to take the option that just avoids any consequences from anyone from their own perspective, that is, and that's by removing relationships, romantic relationships in general, which I know on every end of the aisle, everyone's gonna hate that, because everyone, like, the relationships were such a huge part of what made Tomodachi Life interesting. Obviously not the main thing, but it was a huge part of it, because it was one of the things that made the game have some, like, drama, and it made a lot of funny moments happen. So I don't think it's smart of them to remove relationships altogether. And I'm just scared because if you look at something like Switch Sports, they took a simple game like Wii Sports and messed it up for everybody. So I really hope that with this complicated issue, they don't choose the path of least resistance and just remove it altogether. So I really want to know what you guys think in the comments, because I genuinely don't know what to think of that aspect. So I definitely want to know what you guys have to say in the comments. Moving on from that, though, I also want to talk about whether or not Nintendo is going to, like, what the online functionality is, and how that will affect the customization feature, and how that will affect things like songs, if songs are a thing. Because everyone's seen the memes. We all know that in Tomodachi Life, you can make the character say pretty much anything. And so, if that is the case, will Nintendo allow you to post those songs online without censorship? Or will Nintendo turn songs into something where you have a few different options for words and you have to string them together instead of being able to freely type? Because again, if you look at how they've done that with other games, look at something like Smash 4. In Smash 4, you were able to make your own message for different battle, for the different taunts. You're able to have a different message pop up, and you could freely write it. But in Ultimate, they have their own predetermined options. So I'm cautious about that. I'm really hoping that Nintendo keeps with the freedom of Tomodachi Life without letting it become something that they're scared of. And I think custom stages in Smash are a good example of them saying, okay, you can make things, but we all know how custom stages turned out. So I'm definitely curious on how they're going to handle letting the Miis say what you tell them. Because there's a lot of parts in the game where you tell the Mii to say something like their victory, or like a certain emotion. They'll say a phrase, or like they'll have their own catchphrase. That was a thing. And of course the songs, like I said before. There's so many ways where they could mess things up, and I'm just super hopeful that they don't, because this is one of those games where doing as little as possible from the original is what people want, right? Because the original wasn't a linear experience. It was, every playthrough of Tomodachi Life was different. And that was what was great about it. everything was random. You had no control as the player of what these people did, except for the phrases and the songs. Like, you had places where you could customize, and because the rest of the game was so hands-off for the player, having those moments of freely being able to type whatever you want was what made the game so iconic in the first place. So I have plenty of worries. But at the end of the day, I am so unbelievably excited for this game. Because, like I said at the beginning of the video, this is my most wanted game for the Switch. I've wanted it since Splatoon 3 was even announced. Like, once I knew Splatoon 3 was happening, it was like, okay, Tomodachi Life, please. I need Tomodachi Life. And I don't want to get my expectations to be like, oh, it's just going to be exactly like the first one, but again, on Switch in HD. But then again, it could be that, you know? It could be like the first one in all the ways we love, right? I just hope that's what they end up doing. I will be following the progress of this game as closely as I can. And even if I'm not able to make a video, I will let you guys know what my thoughts are on everything that I see on this game. And best believe, over on the gaming channel, I will make as much content as possible for this game. But despite all my worries, I am insanely excited for this game. I am so excited. It's gonna be, regardless, it's gonna be awesome to be able to do stuff with the Miis again in Tomodachi Life. So let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know what your wants are. Let me know what you think about the issues I brought up. Let me know what you think they're gonna do. Let me know what you want to see. Just let me know everything you think about Tomodachi Life, living the dream. What you want to do, what you want to see. Who knows, I might make a follow-up video with you guys' input. But that's all I have to say. Thank you for watching.